My name is Rich Reynolds. I have been married to Ellie Reynolds for a little over 50 years. We actually met when she was in high school and I was just out of high school. We ended up married at her age of 18 and I was just a little over 20.
So the things that I really value in life are things that include relationships. Just camp out for a weekend and we'd ride through the forest. As I grew up riding horses. And so put me on the back of a horse and leave me alone, I'll be fine. Thank you very much. I don't really have a bucket list because it's not about the things I want to accomplish, it's about the people I want to love.
One of the greatest things about Ben was that he loved life, period. But I think his proudest accomplishment was definitely becoming a dad. Hold on, I feel like you should kiss me under the brim of my hat and not tip. I'm scared. Yes, it is. We're gonna make this happen. Oh, I'm so scared.
My mom was someone who simultaneously was really humble, but also could light up a room. She was the type of person that if she found out that you were struggling, you'd wake up in the morning and there would just be a casserole on your porch, and you would know it was from Celia. She was just grassroots, salt of the earth, South Buffalo all the way, and the primary value was being a good neighbor, being a good friend, and family first.
On our 10th anniversary, we sat in Bend at the Pine Tavern and discussed what kind of a surgery and outcome would come from Ellie's first cancer.
I have a genetic anomaly that lets cancer cells build. So my body's actually prone to like 7 different kinds of cancer.
He thought that he had an injury because they had found a large lump on the inside of his thigh, and ended up getting that looked into, and then they diagnosed him with sarcoma. He ended up having a seizure and went into the ER, and they had found that the tumors on his lung had actually spread to his brain and also his spine. There's still not much information on sarcomas as far as I know. I do remember Ben doing a lot of research on it, and the way that they treat it today is still the same way that they treat it back from when President Ford was in office.
She revealed to me at around age 72 that she was sexually abused as a child. She did not reveal that to anyone, not to her sister, not to her parents, not to my father, who was her high school sweetheart. She carried that secret of that abuse for over 50 years. When that abuse happened, that's when my mom began to believe she wasn't worth loving. She wasn't worth caring for, and she wasn't worth comfort. She was progressively getting worse to the point where when I would visit her, there'd be no heat on in the apartment, there'd be no lights on, there'd be no food. And when I tried to talk to her about it, really her answer was, I don't deserve heat. And that is essentially the battle that she fought her entire life.
Have I been times when I haven't been scared? Yeah. Yeah, the first 16 years after the first cancer, I just barely got to the point I could start to, every time she got sick, that I could just say, okay, we're going to be okay. My
oncologist suggested that I get to see Dr. Blackman with palliative care. So I just did some reading up on it and I was fascinated by it.
So palliative care is a new medical specialty. We work with people who are dealing with a serious illness in their families, and we have two main focuses. One is quality of life, so what symptoms are they dealing with that we can improve to help them live better, and the other is to get to know them and what they're hoping for and help figure out how we as a team, which is all of their providers, give them the best care possible.
We didn't really know what the next step was going to be. When my husband's boss came to visit me, she said, I feel like you should really consider hospice.
We walk into people's lives at such an intense, intimate time, and people are so craving that support.
Every system we entered for caring for my mom, it felt like they could only handle a piece of her. If we went to a medical hospital for a physical injury, they could handle the physical injury, but they couldn't handle her mental and emotional needs. If we found ourselves in a psychiatric program, they could handle her mental and emotional needs, but they couldn't handle anything physical. And so it felt like everywhere that we went, they could only see part of my mom. And it wasn't until we reached Hospice House that they were interested and wanted to care for the whole woman.
When you're in the hospital, it kind of feels a little bit like maybe surrendering because you just don't have control of the situation. But I feel like what we gained by going to Partners in Care was gaining that control and the peace and the healing that everybody had talked about.
It just really began to flesh itself out that it was another rather incredible way of supporting what we wanted life to look like.
We have a situation where we have a cancer that is not curable, but we can be given extended life through it.
I would have told you I knew what hospice care was. Hospice care is care that helps you die. And hospice house is a place that you go when you're at the end of your life. And that could not be farther from what goes on there.
They took care of Ben the way that I would have, if I was able to be the one to care for him by myself.
There's a lot of life that happens there. Your final chapter can sometimes be a chapter of real depth and meaning. In each of those rooms, families are reviewing and remembering why they love each other and the memories that they made together. And that's valuable. That's a treasure. And the staff and nurses and doctors there are equipped to walk beside you and make that experience as meaningful as you want it to be. So for me, after my experience with Hospice House, I would say it's a place you go to remember how to live. There's so much lost at this point. I don't know the last time anyone held her and really acknowledged all the trauma that she's been through on this journey to aging. I knew I was bringing my mom to Hospice House for her and for her care, but what it opened up in me was their care allowed me to be a daughter again. And quite honestly, I had let go of that. And about a week into our stay, I realized what was happening is through their care, my mom was available to me again as a mother, and I was able to re-enter my favorite role, which is being her daughter.
I can live a better life now, and they helped us get to where we could see that.
He commented so much on how much he appreciated everybody there. I mean, they changed the whole experience for us.
In the last few weeks of her life, she was able to receive all the love that she's deserved all along.